feeling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay. Living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, good morning, surfers. We are back from paradise, and oh, I miss it already. Good to see you there, Nick. Hope you had fun down at the Paradise Pad. Got a lot to cover today. As some of you may know, we were down there scoping out villas for the upcoming Crypto Paradise Retreat. So we got news to share on that towards the end of the stream. Of course, we will cover all things Bitcoin, Ethereum, Pulse Chain, Surf. Lots to get into. I'm feeling rested and recharged, but unfortunately still have to watch my kids for the next couple of days. So, there's that. But anyway, how are you feeling? Welcome back to the States. How was your end of the trip?
Yeah, feeling good. Had a day without you and the kids around, and then we had a half day yesterday. We got home. Half days are always nice because you don't have to rush to get to the airport. And, we went to the pool another time, got some more tacos, but then we didn't get home till like 11:30 p.m. So got here late. We had to shower, unpack, so we're on less than 8 hours of sleep here, but got to get on back in the saddle. Got to get some live show done, and then of course we need to start reaching out to some people. If you watch the videos, the alpha was, hey, we see this dip as an opportunity. Obviously, the dip happened when I first landed in Tulum. You were there for a few days. We're looking to push surf when the market turns around very hard. We have over 5 figures of capital, plus we have time. We're going to reach out to a bunch of Pulse Chain people, non-Pulse Chain people. The beauty is Liberty Swap Finance finally allows bridging from Solana, and a lot of our contacts are from Solana or BSC or whatever, so it'll be easier to get them onboarding the Pulse Chain. We talked about how we think Coinbase, SBET, Bitminer, this is a dip, this is an opportunity to buy. It's not as cheap as the first buys we gave you guys, but this dip, if you believe Ethereum is going higher, if you believe Bitcoin is going higher and the crypto industry has not topped yet, those are great dips to buy in your traditional finance markets. And then, of course, we talked about Ethereum Strategic Reserve and what it means for altcoins, which obviously we saw some altcoins show some life after the Powell event on Friday. We saw like BAN, for example, go from 75 cents to $1.40. But now the market weakness is kind of dragging a lot of the alts back, and they're giving up most of their gains. And I'm sure we'll talk about the inflation data here shortly. I know you'd love to dig into that. It met expectations. So the rate cut for next month is still on the table. No negative headlines about that should be coming out. And we're onward and upward. And we're here. We're here live, back in the saddle, back from the beach, recharged, and ready to make a difference in your financial freedom journey.
Awesome, man. Yeah, great recap. It feels good to be back. I'm not worried about these markets at all. I mean, the top was not 124,000. The top was not hit in August. That is completely out of the realm of possibility. So if that is true, if we are going higher, then what are you worried about? Why are you concerned about a little bit of a correction here after the Powell pump and now people are taking profits? Look, whales are still selling tremendous amounts of Bitcoin. I think that's really the cause for the Bitcoin weakness. I mean, it feels like every other day a new whale with billions worth of Bitcoin they bought in like 2010 are resurfacing and sending it to the exchanges. Now, some of them are buying Ethereum, which is great to see, but it's causing a bit of weakness. And I think, look, summer doldrums here. People are waiting for that rate cut. The signal was given at the Jackson Hole Symposium. The rate cut is coming. Now folks are waiting on it. We have until September 17th. That's when the Fed will make the decision. Will it be a 25 basis point? Will it be a 50 basis point? Or will Powell just completely rug us with no rate cut? I don't believe that's what's going to happen. I do believe it's going to be a 25 basis point cut. The PC numbers coming out today at expectations, so nothing really to be concerned of there. I didn't have a chance to dig into the numbers. What's interesting from what I read about the last, the CPI reading that came in, was that it was actually services that were causing the bulk of the inflation. So not goods, not imported goods, as you might expect from all the tariff fears that had happened in the beginning of the year. Rather, no, services. Your accountant, your dentist, your doctor, things of that nature have crept up. So, the Fed is going to have to deal with some remaining inflation, I guess you could say. But it's not anywhere where it was, And now the focus for the Fed should be the labor market. Powell acknowledged this. So I'm not even worried about it. We are going to get the rate cut, whether it's 25 base point, 50. That's the only question in my mind. If you're selling now because you think the top was in at 124,000 and ETH not even having hit really, I know it allegedly hit 5,000 on some exchanges. I didn't really see that. If you think ETH topping out at 5,000 prior to the Fed's new, the Fed pivot to quantitative easing, I think you got to get your head checked. So we're in a good spot. I'm chilling. I'm hanging out. I'm not worried. I'm not selling anything. I'm not buying anything either because I'm fully in the markets. But really, to me, nothing to worry about here. The plan still the same. End of the year, that's the time to look to take profits, and we'll see if this bull market persists into 2026. Very possible as well.
I mean, based on this kind of action that we're seeing, I think the persistence. I mean, I get more convicted that the persistence will happen. Now, if we went from 120, this 125 level went straight to the 135 and we're off to the races and euphoric, then maybe we do stop in 2025. But every time that we stop and consolidate after this another move higher and put in a higher floor, it makes me more convicted that we're going to go higher for longer this time around. We did, for those of you who follow on Twitter or you're part of the Learn Crypto group, we had a sell at 123,800 and a buy target of 112. The buy actually got filled just before the Powell went and spoke, and it gave that green candle. Obviously, we have fallen from that level, but getting rid of it at 123.8 and buying back at 112, getting more units, and now we're sitting here at 109. What's interesting is this white line I've been sharing for a long time, and it's been a critical level, many times, and I said it was a critical level for breakdowns. It held right before Powell went live. That's why we bought there. It fell below it. It got rejected. So now this does look like Bitcoin does want to go lower than that 109,000 level. But it doesn't need to be much lower. The reason being is you do have this green line of support, and if you just go slightly lower than this previous low, you're going to have bullish divergences on the RSI, and there will be whales, algorithms, etc. buying up that dip. Maybe Michael Saylor finally looking at a chart for once in his life, and he'll see the bullish signal and be buying up that dip as well. Ethereum does look better. Ethereum does look better. You can see here all of the Ethereum projections we've been having have been playing out. The main levels continue to hold, and Bitcoin 109, while Ethereum is still holding this all-important $4,350 level and continues to act and outperform Bitcoin on any bullish market news. So, Ethereum still looks like it's the play right now. Ethereum still looks like it wants to outperform, and Ethereum does not look like it is done with this market cycle.
Yeah, Ethereum's looking great, man. And that's what you see, right? When an asset is strong and outperforming, it tends to continue to outperform up until a narrative shift happens or something like that. But until, I think, we still have Bitmine accumulating so much. The SBT guys, Wall Street's attention is on Ethereum in a way that's never happened before. So I just think Ethereum's going to continue to outperform. Anything under that $5,000 level to me is a tremendous opportunity. Especially if we think, or you think as we do, that ETH is going to break, $10,000 mark and maybe even as high as 15. I know Nick's on record saying, hey, if Bitcoin hits a 244,000, which is his target, then ETH could be looking at 22,000 based on kind of historical ratios. So we are undervalued here on Ethereum and showing a lot of strength. Unfortunately, that strength has not trickled down into the altcoins and the low caps. We're not in that phase yet. Remember the phases. Remember the cycles, guys, right? This is all cyclical. Bitcoin first. We had the big Bitcoin run up. We know that. And then if ETH phase is next, that's the phase we're in. We're in the ETH phase, and it's going to take a while for this to play out. One notable thing I think about this cycle that's been perhaps different than others is that it seems like it's taking a bit, every phase is taking a bit longer than maybe previous cycle, which lends credence to the notion that, hey, we may be looking at an extended bull run here in 2026. But anyway, this phase, this ETH phase, it feels like it's been taking a while. It's really only been a couple months. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. We haven't yet trickled down. And so, be patient, guys. Look, you don't get rich overnight. It takes years to make money in the markets in a meaningful way. So stay patient, stay convicted. We're in phase 2. And there's I believe 5 phases. We have not gone anywhere near, 4 phases. We haven't got anywhere near the alt season yet. So just be patient, stay locked in. We're in a good spot. Nothing is out of the ordinary here, and touch grass if you're bored.
We talked about this when we were down in Tulum. It's really this is another reason why we think that the cycle could go longer. Is these phases have been much longer than normal. Normally, this was like 1 month, 1 month, 1 month, 1 month, and there's your bull market. And it's like Bitcoin has been outperforming, and all the money's been flowing into Bitcoin since $15,000. There has been very little segments of altcoins and outperformance from Ethereum or other assets along the way. And it's just now with this Ethereum strategic reserve that we're seeing any outperformance of ETH. And that's only been going on for like these products, these companies started buying in the middle of June. We are in, August still. They've only been buying for a month and a half. So based on how long Bitcoin outperformed, it's probably Ethereum is going to continue to do its thing. We could still be in phase 2 or this phase light green all the way through the end of the year, and you don't get phase 3, 4, and 5 till 2026. That's a big possibility. So we're going to keep monitoring. We're going to keep trying to make gains along the way and trying to find altcoin gems that in some niches and sectors that are pumping. But this is not similar to last cycle in terms of timing. So that's why I don't know why everybody's so set on this 4-year halving cycle. Bitcoin top could already be in. Oh my gosh, it could be even a shorter cycle when these phases have gotten longer than they have in previous cycles. And when you look at traditional finance, usually that's what happens. Over time, these things that have gone exponential, the periods of time they go up extends, but the amount of volatility starts to contract. And that's exactly what we're seeing in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and crypto. And that's why I think 2026 could still be a bullish season for us, and you guys shouldn't be panicking out of your bags just because what is his name, Brandt, is saying that the top is in or the top is going to happen in September.
Well, there's always going to be bearish voices that want you to get you sell your bags early. They want to take your money basically. Be like those whales that bought in 2010 and held for 15 years. If you can be that guy, you will make a shit ton of money in crypto. Look, if you want to trade along the way and have some fun in altcoins, great. But don't be those guys that are cheating out prematurely. Be the diamond-handed guy that bought in 2010. He could have sold at a 2x, a 5x, a 10x, a 100x. He's waited till like a 10,000x. I'm not saying those numbers are possible anymore on Bitcoin. But, talk about long-term mindset. Talk about being diamond-handed. And, of course, now they're sitting on billions of dollars, generational wealth for them and their family. So be like that guy. Don't be the guy who's influenced by Peter Brandt telling you to sell now because, Bitcoin's going to zero. It's a bunch of nonsense. Hold on, be convicted, be patient. As we always say here on this channel.
We see some new data on the strategic reserve here. They've added target markets of at least what the leaders of these companies have said their target is for Ethereum holdings. And even based off these numbers, you got Bitmine here saying they want to hold 5% of the ETH supply, which is 5 million tokens. They only own 1.8 million. You got SharpLink Gaming still on the record saying they want 1 million ETH. They're less than 800,000 ETH, and I guarantee this target rises. This was their initial target that they mentioned back in June, the middle of June. And now we got Ether Machine, only at 3% of his target. His target is 10% of ETH. They want 10 million ETH, and they only have 345,000 now. Will these targets be met? This one will definitely be met. I think Bitmine will. Will this be met? I don't know. But that is a lot of Ethereum to be bought off the market just by these 3 companies. And we know there's other companies out there that are buying and trying to catch up with ETH. Notably, we got ETH Zilla Corporation. They're increasing their ETH in a big way. You see up 24% in the past 30 days, and a lot of these other companies are starting to buy ETH on a weekly and monthly basis. So, look, guys, I don't think the end is near if these people haven't even met their target goals. They don't do this to lose money. They do this to make money. They've convinced a bunch of traditional finance people that this is the way, and I think we're in the point in the market where, Bitmine has come down a little bit off the high. SharpLink Gaming went to $40. Now it's back to $20. And the news feed is like, oh my gosh, what a scam, a Ponzi. Like using words that don't even make sense. And that's was similar to what happened to MicroStrategy when it kind of bottomed out on its way to do a 10x as Bitcoin went from $40,000 to $120,000. I think that's what you're staring at. I think that's where we're at in the market. And that's why I'm so bullish on Ethereum and altcoins still moving forward, even though days like today kind of suck.
Well, I think there's a real disconnect between the mindset of the average degen and the mindset of these, some of the most successful people on Wall Street are running these businesses. Do you think that Tom Lee's time horizon is 2 months? Do you think he's looking at Ethereum and his company Bitmine like a meme coin? No, he's in this for years. This is could be a multi-decade endeavor of his. Look at Michael Saylor. How long has this been going on for Michael Saylor? And he's still just starting. He'll be buying Bitcoin for the next 5 or 10 or 20 years. And so will Tom Lee. So I think people in crypto, they're They've been trained to be short term. Everything's a scam. Everything's a rug. Look, these Wall Street guys are built different. They're not your asshole who created an ICO. They're not your asshole who, rugged you out on the last meme on Pump.fun. These are serious professionals with fiduciary duties to their investors. They're not going to stop after 1.5 months. Yeah, their stock might go up and down, but the long-term vision is there. So I do think most of those companies will hit their targets given enough time. We might be looking at 5 years from now until they're met, which is fine by me. I mean, I got no issues I can wait another 5 years. If it's going to take 5 years for Ethereum to do another 10x, I'm cool. I'll fucking wait. And I think it's going to happen faster than that. But who wouldn't? Dude, you can invest in the architecture and infrastructure of Web3 itself, Ethereum. You can earn dividend and yield on it along the way. And in 5 years, it's going to be worth 10 times more than you paid for right now. What sane investor wouldn't sign up for that, right? Other than your average degen who's looking to make, turn $50 into 500. I'm talking about real investors. Who wouldn't sign up for that deal? So that's what's coming. Be patient. Tom Lee is not cheating out after a month and a half. And if you guys thought that, then you're fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean that's what everything points to. Tom Lee's now on the record saying 10 to 15,000 ETH by the end of the year, $60,000 ETH as a price target, with them holding 5% of the supply. So, things are accelerating, and I think people need to wake up to that. And I mean, even if we get to 15,000, that's still a 4x from here. You're talking Tom Lee saying 4x in the next 3 months, even if we're on a traditional 4-year halving cycle. So stay long, shake off these red days. Ethereum is down 3.8% today, still outperforming Bitcoin. And what do you know? Pulse Chain is down 3.86%, almost like they have a lot of liquidity bonding, a lot of speculation, and a lot of things going on there. But what's interesting is apparently the devices for the major marketing campaign have been onshored in the United States, have been sorted, and now the labels are going on them, and the van is going to start shipping them out. Remember, when these things get shipped out based on utilizing USPS and their mass distribution data, it will take somewhere between 7 days to 21 days for people to start receiving this marketing material, depending on location in the United States that the distribution is happening from. I don't know where distribution is happening from, but just say it's on the East Coast. That means between 7 days to 21 days, everybody in America will be receiving all these devices on their front doorstep. That could line up well if Ethereum starts to catch a bid. Let's turn these markets around, get some green candles going on Pulse Chain, and then that IRL marketing going to hit the door. And whether or not you think IRL marketing is going to work, it doesn't matter what you think, because Richard Hart has been talking about it so much, he will dump his own money in to present a pretty picture just so he can say, I told you so. So I do believe that Pulse Chain rally is imminent. Between 1 to 3 weeks, we are going to see massive green candles on Pulse Chain, and I do think that timeline is nice for Ethereum as well. And hopefully we can get some kind of mini alt season again, rather than these just random pockets that we've had so far these past couple of years.
I think this in real life marketing stuff is absolutely fascinating. Who's to say it can't work, right? It is definitely out there. It's, out thinking outside the box. And that's one thing I think Richard Hart maybe doesn't get enough credit for, is sort of going against the grain. But this is fascinating. I mean, if this works, even to some small degree, right? I think you're going to start to see a lot of companies replicate this. I think you could now see other major layer 1s, layer 2s doing some sort of similar in real life stuff. Maybe this, and this is obviously a very, let's say, rosy viewpoint of it, but maybe this is the start of proper retail, more retail, new investors coming into crypto. Who knows? Let's see what happens. This is fascinating. We have not seen anything like this, at least to my recollection, ever in Web3. I know Hex did something similar many years ago. Maybe that's why I did a 10,000X. But there hasn't really been an in real life marketing campaign done in Web3 to my recollection, not to this extent. So if this works even to some small degree, I think you see a lot of replication. I think you potentially see new retail coming in, and of course money then flowing into Pulse Chain. So I'm very bullish on it. I'm excited to see what happens. I wish Richard Hart and this strategy the best.
If there's anybody out there that wants to throw some chats out there, I haven't been paying attention. We have been playing around with a different streaming service too. Nate's been looking into it that does pull comments from Twitter as well. Obviously, that's where our biggest viewer base is. But if you're over on YouTube, those are the comments we can see, and hopefully we continue to grow the YouTube live user base as well. Not too much else going up on the news feed today. I guess a lot of it was about the PCE numbers. We mentioned it briefly in the opening. Do you want to kind of discuss what happened there? I guess, and what your thoughts is and implications on that is for next month's potential rate cuts.
Well, if it's coming in at expectations, then the rate cut should still be 90% guaranteed to occur. The only question then in my mind is whether it's going to be a 25 or 50 basis point. I think they go with the 25. I do not think they go with the jumbo cut. Remember, they're a lot closer to neutral. That sort of vague number of neutral. They have never defined what neutral actually is, by the way. But speculation is like around 3%. Fed fund rate. So they're closer to neutral than they were, when they started rate cuts, last September, right? So I don't think it's going to be a jumbo cut, and I think there is still enough concern about lingering inflation and the tariffs and uncertainty and blah, 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 that the 50 basis point cut is probably not in the cards. 25 basis point is, in all likelihood, what is going to occur. I do think this is going to cause massive green candles. I do think this is going to be the start of a major Fed pivot from restrictive monetary policy to easing monetary policy. And we know what that means for risk on assets. It's been documented time and again. So when people can't make good returns in their less risky, fixed income type of investments because the Fed's fund rate is lower, then they move their assets into the stock market and into crypto and into these alternative, more risky assets. And that's what that's what your financial advisor, if you have one, he's going to call you up. He's going to say, hey, get out of the money market. We think the Fed's going to cut rates 2 or 3 more times this year. And then in 2026, Powell's out in May of 2026. He'll, his replacement, we'll start talking about his replacement in probably February, and we'll be looking for even lower cuts or lower rates, excuse me. So, we are at the beginning. It hasn't happened yet, but we are at the beginning of a major Fed pivot to easy money. And that's why, good. Like, if we're talking about extended bull market, that's probably the biggest reason why it would happen, We talked about how the phases have been a little bit longer, and there's institutional money coming in, and as asset classes mature, the bull markets tend to elongate a bit, the volatility goes down, et cetera, et cetera. But the biggest reason to me would be Fed policy going from where it's at, which is quite restrictive. Very, very high interest rates relative to the rest of the world, relative to where we were prior to COVID, relative to during COVID. We're high interest rates. So get them lower. Once we get them lower, maybe it's 3%. Maybe it's a little bit less than that. We'll see where it ends up settling at as the neutral rate. And then we're going to be off the races. We are absolutely going to be off the races. So I don't know, man. I'm super bullish, and I don't think the PC numbers change a thing at all.
Yeah, well, PCE was expectation, so that's good. Traders still expect Fed rate cut in September. The current odds on poly market is back up to 87%. You do know that did dip quite a bit when Powell was hawkish, not this last Friday, but in his previous discussions. It was down into the 60s%. Now it's back up to 87%. The highest that it has been was like 95%. So a rate cut probably likely. And if you want the elongated market cycle, probably is better if we just do a 25% cut. Obviously, if they did a jumbo 0.50 cut, you probably get more volatility to the upside. So if you're long or leverage long, you're going to make some gains. But I think 0.25 makes sense, and then we just keep getting 0.25 cuts every month for the remainder of the year, and we'll see what happens in 2026. And like you said, there is a ton of money. Since interest rates have been so high for so long, there is so much money, trillions of dollars in the money markets just scooping up that 5% yield on their millions and millions and millions of dollars. And that money will move if those rates come down and the money markets start paying less, because that isn't going to keep up with inflation. If the money markets go to 3% or 2% and inflation is 2 or 3%, they are just keeping up for inflation. They're here for the gains, and that's where speculative assets start to catch a bid, and that's where you get the mindset of, well, I can get 3% with cash, or I can get into ETH for the same 3% plus have the upside of the risk on asset, and that's where money can pile into the ETH spot ETF or whatever spot ETF is paying yield at that point in time.
$7 trillion last I saw are in the money markets, money market accounts, and that doesn't include, certificates of deposit and just, different random accounts that are not the stock market. It's probably many more trillions beyond that. So avalanche of money will come flooding in. Not all of it. It's not. Some idiots will keep their money in money markets. But anyway, it's gonna be a lot of money coming into the stock market, coming into crypto, coming to risk assets. So hang on to your hats. And maybe Roan here His
Yeah.
problem will be resolved by the end of the year. So great question from Roan. Shout out to Roan. When would the second Tulum get together be? I can't make the first trip due to a severe case of no alt season brokeness. I love that. Well,
Well, I
hopefully
would
by the
say,
end of the year you won't have that problem. But Nick and I were just down there. We'll get into some of the stuff we explored and update on that. But we haven't really yet firmly decided when this first one's going to be. I have been thinking early November because that tends to be when getting down there is not that expensive and villas are not that, so that would keep everybody's costs down. If we wanted to go December, we can go December. We want to go January, February, March. I don't really care. I want to, let's do it within the next 6 months certainly. But let's see what actually happens. We have a group together there in the Crypto Paradise Surf DAO a sub channel, I should say, related just to the retreats. And so we can have a discussion with those who have expressed interest. Hey guys, when you looking to do this? When's good for you? We have not made a final decision on that. My hope will be sometime before the end of this year, before the holidays, but could be November or December. And by then, hopefully, Roan, some of your bags will start to perform well.
yeah, I'll make this a lot simpler and shorter than that. Rowan, the thing isn't planned till tentatively November, and we're gonna have alt season. We're gonna have ETH higher prices, Surf higher prices, Pulse Chain, PTGC high prices, which I know you're in by then. So you'll have enough money and gains that you'll want to be getting on this retreat probably in November. We got time. Let's see what happens. Obviously, August is almost over, but a lot can happen in a month and a half in crypto.
And we will certainly do more. I mean, this is not going to be the last one that we do. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be the first inaugural, so you're going to want to be a part if you can. But we'll do more. We'll absolutely do more. We'll do another one next year, I'm sure. So, as we're on this topic, so Nick and I were down there last week, as you know, or actually beginning part of this week, and we scoped out 3 or 4 different villas. We went to various beach clubs. We just did a lot of different research, spoke a lot about it. And we've found what I think to be the perfect location for the retreat. It's a villa. It's actually 2 villas connected together. Both of them have indoor pools. Both of them are very opulent, beautiful, wow factor. And it's the perfect location because it's right actually near the Paradise Pad. It's near where all the shops, the upscale shops, and the restaurants are. So you just walk over there, get a bite to eat easily. Very close to the beach, of course, as well. So we will be dropping more information on the location of that villa. And then, of course, we'll talk about the timing. We'll get you guys information around the anticipated costs, the deposits. We'll probably have a, discount for those who are buying in early. Then maybe a second phase, then a third phase. That's how you structure these things to get people in. Really, so we're looking to get max 25 people, I think, all that really these 2 villas can fit. So, it's going to be small, intimate. Costs are going to be actually really, really cheap, I think, relative to what you're getting between the lodgings and the meals and the transportation. We got the yacht party. We're going to have other parties, other activities for you guys, the cenotes. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and the costs are going to be reasonable. We're going to get everybody information around that here probably, next week or the following week. But yeah, I'm super excited about it, and I think the trip was well worth it. We found the perfect villa. What say you, Nick?
Yeah, that one we definitely went and tried to look at a couple. We didn't like. Some weren't even finished being constructed. And then you hit me up and we were chilling. I was about to take a nap, and you're like, "Hey, we got to go look at this villa." We get down there and it's so close to the Paradise. It's like 3 minutes from the Paradise Pad by car. It's like 2 minutes by foot from all the cafes that we've been going to and the taco joint we went to. It's in a gated community, so that's why we've never even really seen it. There's security there, and as soon as you walk in, you're like, "Oh wow, this is amazing." Both villas have indoor pools, they have a spa, they have a weight room, an outdoor garden, and then of course that villa is in a bigger community of villas. So if the 2 indoor pools is enough, then you have a big public pool and a tennis court and hiking trails and everything else. So for the price, and you can get a chef in there and there's bars in there and everything else, it's like, wow, that definitely had the wow factor. It was nice that there was like 12 different bedrooms, so everybody will either have their own bedroom or just a bunkmate, but you all have your own bed. Pretty amazing stuff, and I'm excited for it. And way better than a conference. 25 people get to talk crypto, plan the next big thing, meet each other face to face, have fun, enjoy themselves while plotting how they're gonna get their financial freedom for the remainder of the bull cycle.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's really fundamentally all about. It's about meeting like-minded people, people who have been in the crypto paradise community, people that are in Pulse Chain, people that have been in crypto generally, and just vibing out and connecting and, like you said, planning for their financial freedom. So it's going to be a great time. Rowan, of course, if you can't make it, we will be bummed out, but there will be another one. So don't worry about that too much. Looking forward to releasing some more information. We have some videos to share with you guys about the villa, so that should be dropped here next week. We'll get another form circulated so folks can express interest in coming. But yeah, it's gonna be a great time, and we hope to see you all there.
Is there any other news, comments, questions, concerns? Nothing crazy going on. Like I said, just red candles. People get quiet. There isn't as much hype. I guess we're just here saying, hey, still think it's all season. Still think Ethereum outperforms Bitcoin. We have seen some bids on BNB and Solana, so they continue to do well. And when they do well, that helps out some other altcoins. Pulse chain marketing, I would expect to see physical devices in the next 7 to 21 days, which I think is going to be a major turning point for Pulse chain network specifically. And yeah, I mean, Surf Token sitting here just sub $1 million market cap following the rest of the Pulse chain. And, you know, I did the video giving you the warning. So we're going to get to work and hopefully, depending on market timing, get a big marketing campaign going, get the surf going. And also, you know, we've been away a while. So Crypto Paradise has, you know, passive income that it needs to swap for Surf Token. I got passive income. I need to swap half of that for Surf all the time, just indefinitely. And it looks like Ian's about to maybe show the new website or talk about that. We have a version 1 of a dashboard. Version 2 is coming soon. And once that get live, that also will provide a lot of information to current holders and future holders on what's going on behind the scenes. How much surf is being burnt? How much surf are you earning in your wallet? Well, how much growth have we seen in the LP pools? How much money is sitting in the DAO wallet and no expectation wallet that we can use for buy and burns or marketing campaigns or whatever it may be? The answer is over 5 figures in cash is ready for a big marketing campaign. So if you have ideas on what marketing or who marketing or where marketing helps this next surf pump, get in our DMs. We're going to put together a big Excel form and try to plan a massive marketing campaign when the next Pulse Chain rally happens, which we think happens in the next 7 to 21 days. So we need to get to work for that big push in September or even November leading into the Paradise Retreat and leading into the euphoric stage of alt season.
Yeah, long-term mindset, long-term planning here at Crypto Paradise. We are not going anywhere, so just waiting for the right time to initiate some of that major marketing campaign Nick just alluded to there. But yeah, the new website is up. Shout out to David, or the new landing page, I should say. I think it more captures the vision, the sort of ethos behind Crypto Paradise. You know, relative to the last one anyway, the last landing page we had, which was also great, but this one I think is much better. We're building a global community of investors, traders, builders, and dreamers who see crypto not as a market, but as a path to financial freedom. Goes into what exactly that we do between the alpha calls, the news, the investment opportunities, the daily content. Of course, a lot of information about the Surf token, auto burns, DAO access, you know, all these things. And of course, we had to talk about a little about the Paradise Pad, didn't we? So just a reminder, hey, the only channel giving away free nights to Paradise, folks. Get your hands on that action. It's a great time down there. Nick was just down there with his wife. I was down there with my family. Can't say enough good things about stepping away from the computer screen and, you know, living a little bit. So get down there. Hit us up if you're a member of the DAO. And we'd love to have you down. So, yeah, new website's up. I won't get into the dashboard quite yet because I think we're waiting for the dev to finish a version 2 of it. But that is there. You can connect your wallet. You can see all the data related to the burns, related to the amount of tokens you've earned, you know, through the reflection rewards, the LP that's been added over time to the various pools. You can see all that information. So existing holders, head over to the dashboard, connect your wallet. You can see all that information. And for those who are not yet holding the token, the V2 is going to display all that information without having to go through Wallet Connect. So that's what the dev's working on now. I'm excited to have this version of the website done here and upward and onwards.
Yep. I'm loving what I'm seeing. Obviously, it's red, so, you know, patience. Everybody's like, oh, just another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks. But Ethereum still is holding a lot of strength and has a lot of demand, and that's why I still have the positive outlook on the entire market. And people are like, well, why does Ethereum matter? Why are you only talking about ETH? It's because ETH historically drives the entire market when it comes to altcoins. And that is especially going to be true this cycle when we're focused on Pulse Chain that holds 166,000 ETH, when we're focused on BSC that is a layer 2, EVM compatible, built off of Ethereum's code. Obviously Solana has nothing to do with Ethereum, but still general market sentiment. We've seen on Solana that the DEX users, the people trading on the DEX is drying up. So we need to look at what's the next narrative, what's the next cycle, and I think that's going to be Ethereum, BSC, and Pulse Chain. So that's what we're pivoting on. That's what we're waiting on, and we're waiting for Ethereum to kind of lead that way and bring in the next wave of new no-coiners to the market, bring in the fresh capital, and bring in that speculation that institutional demand is driving.
Look, I know it sucks to wait. We all have financial goals. Maybe some of you, like Rome, want to get down to the retreat at the end of this year. Some of you may want to quit your jobs. Some of you may want to buy a new car, down payment on a house. I get it. We all have financial goals, and it sucks when the markets are taking longer than expected. But the fact is, Rome was not built in a day. If you talk to anyone who's made money in crypto, it did not happen usually even in one cycle. It usually took till cycle 2. So we could be talking about 2, 3, 4, 5 years before the average person finally did well in crypto. So I think we need to have that collective realization that, look, there's no such thing as get rich quick overnight, right? These things take time. It takes time to learn the markets. It takes time to figure out how to not get effed over and rugged, et cetera. It takes time to meet the right people. It takes time to build up your capital base and then deploy it or build more. These things all take time. So have patience, have conviction. Be like that guy who bought a bunch of Bitcoin in 2010 is now finally offloading it 15 years later and for billions of dollars. Think of how many bear markets and disappointment and just oh my God, this is taking forever. That guy had to go through, right? So, be like that guy. Be long-term. Be convicted. It usually takes a couple cycles, guys. I know it sucks, but, this is what it takes if you want to make money in crypto.
If there's no other questions, I don't see really any on Twitter. I don't see any new ones on YouTube. I think that is a good video to probably to end on here. We're back in the saddle. First one, red market, not too much news headlines. I know you said you're pulling up some news articles. Is there any other articles you want to go over before we wrap this up?
Yeah, let me scope some out here. Nate dropped a couple. 1 sec. Hold on. I like this one because it's a bull post, first of all. I love me some bull posts. But, actionable information here, right? Actionable information. ETF inflows are going parabolic again. So, smart money, those buying ETFs, that's a lot of Wall Street types, some retail, but it's a lot of Wall Street. They don't think this bull market's over, right? They know what's coming with the Fed rate cuts. They know what's coming with Donald Trump's legislation around crypto. We haven't, by the way, gotten the full comprehensive crypto legislation. We've only gotten the Genius Act thus far, which obviously moved the markets tremendously. Just imagine what happens when the comprehensive legislation gets passed, which is slated towards the end of the year. Not to mention the inclusion of staking within the Ethereum ETF. I could go on and on about why we're going higher. But Wall Street thinks we're going higher. Retail, you should think we're going higher. The only ones preventing us from going higher right now are those OGs that are selling billions, I think, on the market. So, look, just be patient. Let those guys sell out. And we are going to end up going higher.
Yeah, and it's not even that those guys don't think we're going higher. It's just, when you put in 50,000 and it's worth 100 million, I mean, at some point you hit the cash register and understand it changes your life. So.
Yeah, you got to take profits when your $50,000 investment's worth billions. So be like that guy. These things are all going higher. The inflows on these ETFs are looking good. Look, these red days happen. I guess after, because I've been in this industry, you have as well 8 years, whatever, you sort of get, let's just say, desensitized to the red days. Like, whatever. Yes.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good. Your dopamine levels are lower. You're not feeling rich on paper, but if you zoom out and you've been here a couple cycles and you think you know where we're in the cycle, then you just have to weather the storm for the next wave up. And Ethereum a month ago was $1,600. Right now it's $4,200. We're trending in the right direction. Things are happening. We're doing our thing.
Things are happening. We are doing our thing. It was great to be out in Tulum this week. A lot of info we shared on the upcoming retreat, so be sure to catch that. If you're not in the Crypto Paradise Telegram, get yourself in the Crypto Paradise Telegram community. There's a lot of activity there. We share a lot of information, videos. We share, updates on projects we're involved with. So get in there. That's where you're going to learn first about the retreats and be able to get involved with everything Crypto Paradise at the ground floor. So get in the Telegram, retweet this, like this, comment. Oh, let's get the, when the market's down, let's get to work. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's do what we can to build the channel, build the following, and then we can all win together.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Obviously, a little bit of a slow macro day for us, but not, getting back in the saddle. Not too much going on, and we'll be back at you with some fresh picks, some gems, some sell opportunities, some buy opportunities when the market starts to present itself. And get locked in. Get your surf bag for your discount to the retreat. Get your surf bag for this big marketing push that we're trying to do. Get your surf bag if you like passive income. Get your surf bag if you think Pulse Chain's going higher. Just buy some surf. Okay, buy some PTGC, buy some PLSX, whatever it is. And all you guys watching that we know OGs from other networks, especially Solana, BitShaman, that gateway is now open. So we'll be in your DMs here shortly, and we will get you onboarded over to Pulse Chain and the Surf token before this next big run to new all-time highs.
Oh, I love that, man. Yeah, great stuff today. Good to be back. We will be back Monday with more content, more live streams, more spaces. Big marketing push coming, so we'll be prepping and planning for that. And until then, guys, we'll see you on the beach.